It's everyone's favorite time of the year, tax time. But what if you don't pay your taxes this year? You might be wondering whether the IRS will come a-knocking. Can they arrest you for not filing your taxes, send you to prison? Well, the good news is you're probably not going to jail just yet. Hi, I'm Gia from FindLaw.com, and today we're talking about what happens if you don't pay your taxes. Tax evasion. If you're skipping out on paying your taxes or refuse to pay what is owed after filing, that is commonly known as tax evasion. You may have heard about notorious gangsters like Al Capone being convicted of tax evasion, but anyone, not just a gangster, who refuses to file a tax return or pay taxes may be charged with this serious crime. Keep in mind, however, that it's not the policy of the IRS to prosecute if you make simple mistakes or if your returns were lost in the mail. It's really a question of intent, when failure to pay taxes becomes a crime. Failure to pay taxes or file a return is itself a crime. However, most often, the IRS would rather work with you and reach a settlement before seeking criminal charges, with one major exception. If you derive your income from illegal sources, it is more likely that the IRS will prosecute. What to expect if you don't pay your taxes? Generally, the IRS can collect taxes, interest, and penalties for all of the taxes you've owed over the years, and has programs in place to find those who didn't pay. But the IRS is surprisingly flexible, and often installment plans can be set up to pay off what you owe. You may be able to negotiate a settlement depending on your ability to pay, and in some cases, the IRS may owe you money. If you go to a tax professional, you'll probably not have to deal directly with the IRS. A tax professional should be able to obtain your past W-2s, 1099s, and 1098s from the IRS. Get legal help from a tax attorney. Now that you have a pretty good idea of what to expect if you don't pay your taxes, you'll probably want to avoid the additional negative consequences. In some cases, simply expressing a willingness to work out a plan will prevent legal action against you. That being said, it's usually a good idea to discuss your case with a tax attorney to learn about your options. One more thing to remember. If you don't think you'll make the deadline, you can file for an extension by filling out and submitting a Form 4868. Extensions are generally automatically granted and give you an additional 6 months to file. The filing process is the same, just be prepared for some late fees and interest. If you do miss this year's deadline, you're not completely out of luck, but you might be out a little more money. I hope this information eases some of the stress you might have about paying taxes. I'm Gia from FindLaw.com, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. If you want to dig a little deeper, visit FindLaw.com for our articles, blogs, and our weekly podcasts.